Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh, my dear brothers and sisters, friends and viewers of Iqra TV. Welcome to another edition of Real Talk, the program that comes to you day in, day out, every week, week in, week out, on a Tuesday evening, bringing you issues of interest, of concern, of importance that I and some of my colleagues and members of the public who ring in and tell us what they want us to talk about, are concerned about, or want to be sort of made aware of. And that is what this program is all about, bringing to you issues of contemporary issues that affect the Muslim, not just the Muslim community, but the whole community, whether you're based on Muslim faith or not, no faith, or any other faith as well, because we cover all subjects, we cover all areas, and we try and make this program interesting by bringing on the program guests who have expertise and knowledge about particular areas. We also try and showcase some of the good work that is going on within the Muslim community in particular, that spreads across other communities as well. So we've done sort of programs around COVID and how the Muslim community has helped enormous amount of people in the whole of the country by providing PPE, by providing food parcels, etc., etc. And that is this program is all about. It's a program for you. It's a program to bring to you, as I say, issues that a lot of people are talking about, are aware of, are interested in. And a couple of weeks ago, we all Muslim people and people who are interested in social justice and equality were absolutely concerned about what was happening in Israel. The attacks, the relentless attacks by the Israeli Defense Force on the innocent people of Gaza and the West Bank and occupied territories was absolutely unbelievable, and we couldn't watch what was going on. And the pretext was that people who were trying to protect their homes, in which they had lived for centuries, were being taken away from them. And when they protested and others tried to help them, that gave the opportunity to the Israeli state to try and attack the rest of the Muslim community. And obviously they tried to fight back with rockets, etc., which one can understand. But then they were faced with barrages of air-to-ground missiles, destroying apartment blocks, giving families very little time. Obviously all of this has been a huge concern to many communities, and we've seen protests throughout the whole world, not just in the UK, not just in the Middle East, but throughout the whole world. I mean, somebody sent me a video yesterday of 250,000 people marching in Detroit, Michigan, Detroit, against what was happening in Palestine. And 2 weeks ago I had 3 guests, one directly from Jerusalem, who gave us an up-to-date sort of picture of what was happening there. On that day she told us about how 3 people had been shot and killed in Jerusalem, and Gaza as well. So some harrowing experiences that were coming out. Over 250 adults and about 60 young children have been killed in this conflict. But today I want to bring those 2 guests back. You may remember they were with me, but because we had a long conversation with our sister from Jerusalem, they did not get much chance to come and share their thoughts, their views. So hopefully today I'm going to give them as much time as I can, but also remember, this is your program. You can ring in as well and contribute. Tell us what you think we need to be doing. And the phone number is on your screen. It's 01274 214 299. Happy to receive your call and share your thoughts with us. So can I welcome my 2 previous guests who were here 2 weeks ago, as I said, Dr. Shahina Ahmed, and Safina Ahmed, and Shamsuddin Akhtar Ahmed as well, who was here with me. Now, both of them have been very active on Palestinian issues. You have been particularly supportive. There's many organizations out there who are supporting the people of Palestine. I know you are very closely linked to the Friends of Al-Aqsa. And I know, Shamsuddin, brother, you, on Sunday, the Friends of Al-Aqsa had a ride from Bradford all the way to Manchester, going through Halifax and Rochdale, and over 60 people volunteered to ride from Bradford. I mean, how they managed to do it. And I've been told that every one of them finished that ride, and that was all in aid of Palestine and the people of Palestine. And I know, Sister Safina, you have been a sort of committed activist to try and help the people, the brothers and sisters and children of Palestine as well, again through Friends of Al-Aqsa. So can I ask you first, sister? I mean, you're very young. You're probably born in this country. You're a doctor, optometrist, right? Still, doctor as well. You're a mother with kids. You live in, is it Huddersfield, isn't it? Not far away from here. What made you join a campaign, like this, whether it's Friends of Al-Aqsa or any other campaign?
Okay, so for me, I initially got to know Friends of Al-Aqsa through a fundraising event. I remember going to it, and the lady on the stall, she was just so passionate, and you know, that really came across. And she ended up becoming a really, really good friend of mine, and she taught me so much about what was happening in Palestine, and you know, about the virtues of Masjid al-Aqsa, basic things, but I didn't actually know any of these things. And then the more she taught me, the more knowledge I kind of got. And then obviously recently with everything that has happened, obviously you know, everything that happened in Palestine, like I didn't really, you know, you want to do something but you're not quite sure where to go. And I remember sort of speaking to her.
You feel helpless, don't you?
Yeah, you know, you want to do stuff.
Yeah.
And so I remember sort of speaking to one of the representatives from Friends of Al-Aqsa, and she told me, you know, we had a discussion, and then she actually came onto my podcast, and she, you know, I learned so much more, you know, about the conditions in Gaza. You know, it's literally an open air prison. The water there, you know, 97% of that water is not drinkable. And that's according to the UN. People are not allowed in and out. There's a siege, and just, you know, learning all these things about what was happening in Gaza, what was happening in Sheikh Jarrah, and about, you know, the treatment of the Palestinians, and learning all that, it just made me, you know, want to get involved with the organisation, an organisation that makes things simple. You know, we have like simple things that we do but they're effective. For example, like rather than telling you to boycott everything, we have the Boycott Coca-Cola campaign, which is hashtag not in my fridge. So and the reason that we target Coca-Cola is because they have illegal settlements there. They have factories.
They have a plant. They have a factory.
Yeah, they have. And then so, you know, why would we as not just Muslims, but anybody that, you know, wants justice and doesn't want innocent people being oppressed. And, you know, don't forget that these are mainly kids.
The counter argument that is being put is that they're providing employment to Palestinians, you know, and that's the counter argument that they put. So how do you respond to that? I mean, do you want to come in and...
That counter argument actually reminds me of one metaphor that we have where I come from in Bangladesh, and that is that on the one hand, you completely dislocate all the roots of a tree, but continue to pour water from the top. And that's exactly what's happening.
They've taken the people away from their own land.
It is an utter contradiction. It is nothing but cosmetic. It doesn't serve the real purpose, which is to ensure the freedom.
I just want people to understand that, you see, because people will say, hang on, they've built a factory there and they're providing employment. But what people may not be aware of is they've actually thrown people off that land, which belongs to them for thousands of years. So anyway, sorry, carry on. So you then joined this group, I suppose, and...
Yeah, I mean, just seeing how these guys work, you know, I want to be part of it too. You know, you want to get your voice across, and you know, alhamdulillah, like I've managed to, you know, represent them even here. So yeah, I mean, it's been a journey, but
how does the family sort of get engaged or react to your commitment and your dedication to this sort of campaigning?
Alhamdulillah, I've got a very, very supportive family. You know, like as soon as I told them about Coca-Cola, that was it. Coca-Cola was gone. And you know, they've all like told each other about, okay, like we need to, you know, boycott this, and you know, don't use those kind of printers, because HP is another thing that it's another organisation that again supports the oppression in Palestine. So again, that's another company to aim for. And Puma, they support the Israeli football team. So that again. One, Puma's not cool anyway. Why would you even want to wear Puma, right? But jokes aside, like Puma again.
Well, I'm sure Puma would want to make a reference to that, to why you should be wearing Puma. But we'll come back to that. Yeah. I mean, obviously people understand that if there are people who've invested. I mean, it's very similar to what happened with South Africa. You know, the boycott of South Africa. And I remember Nelson Mandela was saying that if it wasn't for the fact that the people of Britain had instituted the people's boycott of those companies that were dealing with the apartheid regime in South Africa, would not have given the independence, had not turned to independence as quickly as it did. So it's a very similar story, isn't it?
Yeah. Right. Yeah, absolutely. And the other thing that I just want to mention about Coca-Cola, it's not just Coca-Cola. I know we call we call it Coca-Cola, but a lot of the fizzy drinks like 7-Up, Sprite, and these guys are all made by Coca-Cola as well. So I think the other thing we push is check the label, isn't it? So we always check out, you know, is it halal, is it haram, but also check the label, see where the food is sourced from. So if you've got like I'm sure you would have got messages about the 729 barcode, check the barcode, but that's not always accurate. So the best thing to do is check where the produce is made, and obviously, boycott that accordingly.
Right. So it's if it says made from where, is it West Bank or what does it say?
Made from Israel and is it the Jordan Valley as well, isn't there? Yeah.
Right. Now, Samshuddin, obviously, you came on the last program, and as I say, we didn't have much time between the two of you to talk about this. I mean, you're a very well-known person in Bradford. Lots of people sort of respect and value you. Not that Sister Safina is not a well-known in Bradford. I'm sure you are as well. I know you're probably better known in Huddersfield, I presume, than you are in Bradford. But I mean, obviously, your engagement with this cause probably goes back much further than Sister Safina's. So you've been doing this for quite a while. How and where did you start?
But just before I answer this question, Iqbal, I just wanted to echo something that Sister Safina touched on. And in terms of when people raise the question in terms of how do I get involved, and I just wanted to reinforce, what you're looking at is a professional, a mother, a husband who's also, they're both medical professionals.
Yeah, he's a doctor, isn't he? Yeah.
Okay. So the question is, how do these unbelievably busy people find the time? And that is a matter of priority. It's about conviction. When you actually take something to heart, you actually make time for it. When you become passionate about something, you make time for it. Okay. Sister was talking about checking labels and whatnot. The message really is that we are smart shoppers, every one of us, because we all want good deals. We all want to go where it's two for the price of one, all those kind of things. The extra dimension to what Sister was talking about is about becoming that conscious consumer, because like you said, what did Nelson Mandela say? If it wasn't for the power and the people's power, the political landscape in South Africa would not have changed. And that's what we're looking at. It's the people's power that's going to change the landscape that we're looking at today. The governments, the powers that be, they have no interest in changing the status quo. It's the people, which is why you see people coming out in their tens of thousands, hundreds of thousands, right across the board. The religious divides, the ethnicity, the national, right across, because it is a people's concern by the people.
There was a demonstration on Bradford on Sunday that I attended, and I'm sure some of you probably would have seen my speech, which is going around. I've been told it's viral around the world. And we had members of the Jewish faith who came and showed their strength. So it's not Jewish community that people are criticizing per se. It's that element of the Jewish community which is engaged in Zionism, and this is what I was saying. And I think sometimes our politicians fail to distinguish between anti-Zionism and anti-Semitism. And as I said in the first program, Iqra TV, myself, and the people who are behind this, we are not anti-Semitic. We are those people who have faith in the Jewish community. We consider them to be our brethren. But it's those who are ones who want to create this Zionist state and taking away legitimate land of the Palestinian people that we want to campaign against. We believe in the two-state solution. I support the two-state solution, and all the UN resolutions as well that have been approved over the last 70 years or so. So let me make that absolutely clear. But I mean, coming back, obviously you are a young mother. With you said you had the children 4 years old as well, was it?
Oh, got 4 children.
4 children. The youngest is 4 or 2. Youngest is 2. Sorry, 2 weeks my memory goes. This 2 days my memory. So obviously like Shamsuddin says, you're a very busy woman. You're a professional, so you're working as well. Where and how do you find time to do all this? Because, like brother says, you must be really passionate, committed, and dedicated. So what sort of activities do you get engaged in as well?
Sort of in terms of the campaigning side of things?
Yes, the campaigning.
Yeah, so at the moment I'm doing sort of like reels on Instagram, and a lot of my sort of things is on Instagram, trying to encourage boycotting and things. And also just, educating family and friends, through open discussion. I run the podcast, and that again, we've had Friends of Al-Aqsa on, other representatives talking about we've had episodes where I've done the full history of Palestine, sort of back to the Balfour Declaration, World War II, and how obviously the Ottoman Empire broke. And then, we carried on up until, present day and what's going on with, being
So you
triggered from
provide a
Sheikh
history
Jarrah.
lesson, basically.
Yeah, so we did like a history lesson. Then we
Yeah.
did, we had another lady, another teacher that came on, and then we had a discussion about an action plan, like what do we need to do now? And then obviously we went into sort of what we've talked about today, like boycotting and things like that. Again, and things like fundraisers, that's always a good one. We've just done one recently that I think you were quite heavily involved with that one, weren't you? So I'll pass it on to Brother to talk about that.
Yeah, I mean, we'll come back to that. I mean,
Yeah.
I'm not sure whether people are aware of this, but on Sunday, Friends of Al-Aqsa organised a bike ride from Bradford to Manchester, which went through Halifax, Rochdale, and then to Manchester. Started off in the morning around 8 o'clock, and I've just seen some of the pictures, and I was supposed to be there, hopefully in the morning, to cover it, but then, for reasons, technical reasons, we couldn't do it. But I know that the MP for Bradford, both the MPs, the Muslim MPs were there. I've been told, I've seen the picture with Imran Hussain, who was there to see the 60 or so riders, weren't there? So can you just explain to our viewers what the purpose behind that was, etc.? I know, I'm sure one of it was to raise awareness of what was happening in Israel.
And that was the real thing, it was to raise awareness. Awareness of what? Awareness of the injustice that's been meted out to the Palestinian people. Because a lot of the time, the mainstream media never picks up the atrocity that goes on. So, we are grateful to, mediums like Iqra TV, for example, for giving us a platform to raise awareness. This was an occasion where, if I may say so, it was actually in the planning for 18 days, 2.5 weeks. And I have been told by friends and colleagues that something of that caliber, of that size, of that kind of logistic actually takes several months to put together. I actually counted the days yesterday, and it was actually 18 days from the day when we first met. And I certainly was of the thinking that, is this really doable? Are we doing the right thing here? To it actually.
How many riders did you have in the end?
Well, on register, it was Eventbrite registration. It was 50 riders.
Right.
I knew it was on the day we had more than 60. I wouldn't be surprised if we actually exceeded 70.
We have a call coming in. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Can I have your name and where are you calling from, please, brother?
Wa alaikum salam. I'm calling from Peterborough, and wa alaikum salam to your guests as well.
Alaikum salam. So what would you like to say?
I would like to say what I fully agree with campaigning and, making out petitions.
Right.
How can we boycott goods? Boycotting goods does not work. The ordinary public, shall we boycott Indian goods because they have a Hindu
government?
Government. Yeah.
And people have said that. Yes, people have said that.
Right, correct. Yeah. So shall we stop putting fuel in our cars because BP is owned by an American company? So boycotting goods does not work. All
right.
I agree with fundraising and everything. The Saudi government, is pumping millions and millions into casinos and alcohol in America. So shall we?
Well, listen, my brother, I agree with some of the things you say. All right.
Yeah.
But let me tell you, I presume, I don't know whether you've heard any of Nelson Mandela's speeches. And I'm sure you have heard of Nelson Mandela, haven't you?
Yeah, of course.
He was in prison for how many years? 3 decades? He was put in prison?
But he was doing it for his country. His country was invaded by the Dutch.
Well, actually, let me hold you. Actually, you've used just the word there that I never even thought of, and that is that the land of Palestine has been invaded by Zionists. And therefore, so therefore what we want to do is to see, what is the best means, because they don't have, I agree with you, the Saudi government, the Muslim community countries have not been sort of, forthcoming in helping them in the way they should. But I mean, boycott.
I look Puma shoes. Who says Puma is not cool? See, your view and my view and 99% maybe might be different.
I agree, yeah. And that's and we respect each other's views. Samshuddin, let me bring Samshuddin in.
Brother, can I ask you a question? Or rather, sorry, I'm going to put a scenario to you and I want you to respond to it with conviction, please.
Of course.
Okay? I am in destitution. I have nowhere to go. You provide refuge for me It is your house, your property in which I take refuge. But through passage of time, guess what happens? Small amount at a time, I actually take it over, ultimately with force, with guns and bullets held against your head, to the extent where, please, can I just finish? Sir, can I just finish the scenario?
Yeah.
Of course you may.
Please, if I may. Okay. There comes a point where that destitute person, me, has now ultimately become the unlawful owner of your property, and you are now on the street. Please, can you tell me how you would respond to that scenario?
You have to be in their shoes, and what?
I've just put you in their shoes. I have just done that to you, sir.
This is what I'm trying to say.
Gee.
So the Palestinians are receiving aid from the British government, from this government, from that government. So who support Israeli bombs, Israeli buying of...
Hang on, can I just stop you there? Sorry. I don't think the Palestinian people get the level of financial support from the British government that I think you claim. So I think we need to clarify that. And I think we need to recognize that the British government, successive British governments, have pumped millions of pounds into the Israeli state defense forces as well over the last many years. So I think there's a great imbalance between that. Thank you very much for your call. We're going to be going to a break. Jazakallah for your call. Thank you very much. But I hope you do reflect on what you said, and I'm telling you what Nelson Mandela said, and that is, until Palestine is free, the world is not free. And therefore, I would say, we do need to consider what our brother and sister are saying in terms of boycott. And I know for a fact that boycott in South Africa had a major impact in bringing the end to apartheid, because I was heavily engaged. And if the brother you want to know, the first day that Nelson Mandela came to this country, after he was released from prison, he arrived overnight. At 6:30 in the morning, I and about 15 to 20 others were invited to go and meet him, because I was involved in a campaign of apartheid, challenging apartheid. So I hope you've enjoyed it. I'm sure we have other viewers as well who'd like to come in and say either the same thing that the brother said or the opposite side of it. If you are passionate, if you want to share something with us, please call us. We are on 01274 214 299. Inshallah, don't go away. We shall come back to you. In the meantime, have a break, have a tea, have a coffee, whatever it is, and be passionate about this issue as our brother was. I mean, he feels that the boycott doesn't help. I think millions and millions of not just Muslims, but non-Muslims as well, will say that they know that boycott does work. Boycott hurts the economy of the country. That is being racist. That is oppressing people, and therefore a boycott is a must. One way of taking those governments to get them to senses. Inshallah, we'll see you soon. Take care. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuhu. And don't forget, come back and join us again. Take care.